Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, yes. In the past few days, there is a consistent trend that has been emerging from the Judiciary and IEBC. The Supreme Court justices seems to be getting more daring and more arrogant in the past few days. And also looking at Wafula Chebukati's tweets in the last few days, he has also been making tweets as if he is mocking some Kenyans. And Kenyans have been wondering, where are the Supreme Court justices getting that kind of confidence to even threaten Kenyans not to talk about the Supreme Court's verdict? Where is Chebukati getting such kind of confidence to mock other Kenyans? Earlier today, Raila Odinga was in Machakos County and he made some remarks that I want us to listen into carefully, for the remarks are going to form the basis of our analysis and the discussion right now. Listen into this.
The advocates, so that the country would not question them. That is the Supreme Court we witnessed in the presidential election case. We also have come from a judiciary that invested in intimidation. Today, the Supreme Court is threatening those talking against the judgment in the presidential petition. According to Madam Martha Koome, that judgment is not supposed to be discussed by anyone, anywhere. The court registrar has already issued threats on those who have criticized the despicable judgment of the court. In fact, Justice Isaac Lenaola is publicly accused of threatening one of the petitioners, Senator Okiya Omtata, with the ruination over his stand on the court judgment. And he told Omtata that he is not an Emormor, which is the king of the Teso. And the Chief Justice has gone out to a funeral in her village and defended the judgment even before she gives out the detailed ruling. Supreme Court is now in politics.
Yes, that's Raila Molo Odinga. And Raila is taking issues with the Supreme Court and with IEBC. Some few days ago, we did a detailed analysis on Isaac Lenaola and on Martha Koome. A few days ago, there was a leaked WhatsApp chat where Isaac Lenaola was threatening Okiya Omtata, Busia senator, to a point of telling Okiya Omtata that Okiya was not an Emormor. And that was seen as not only a threat on Okiya Omtata, but the Justice Isaac Lenaola was also profiling Okiya Omtata ethnically, ethnic profiling, telling him that you are not an Emormor. We know that an Emormor is a Teso king. So that was seen as an ethnic profiling. Coming from a Supreme Court justice was very unfortunate. And this is why I personally believe that dented the image and reputation of Justice Isaac Lenaola. And because of that alone, he is not fit to serve as a Supreme Court justice. Kenyans have lost hope and faith in him. And those kinds of words just reinforces the notion that indeed he was the one who single-handedly wrote the kind of insults we saw Martha Koome reading to Kenyans. Hot air, wild goose chase. The kind of response he did respond to Okiya Omtata proves that he was the person who indeed single-handedly wrote the kind of verdict Martha Koome read. And in an interview, Okia Omtata alleged that Isaac Lenaola was the person who indeed wrote the judgment read by Martha Koome. And looking at Isaac Lenaola, his demeanor, behavior, he comes out as very arrogant and most likely the person who wrote the judgment. It comes out very, very clearly. And then Martha Koome, some few days ago before the issue of Isaac Lenaola, Martha Koome was in Meru. She was speaking in Meru, where she told Meru residents, as they cheered, that God intervened, and that's what helped them come with the verdict. The verdict we saw they read, wild goose chase, so that God intervened, and that's how they came with that kind of a verdict. And the full verdict is not even out, and we are seeing a Chief Justice already going out in public rallies, talking on how God intervened and enabled them come with a verdict. That alone, ladies and gentlemen, also dented the credibility of the Chief Justice. And those remarks alone proved it to Kenyans beyond any reasonable doubt that their verdict was not based on evidence, but on some heavenly intervention. And in this case, that cannot be the God we know. That can be maybe some other gods, but not the God we know. Because the God we know obviously could not have intervened, and then such kind of insults to be read to Kenyans. That's not the God we know. And those incidences have just proved it to so many Kenyans that as things are right now, the Supreme Court might be compromised. Same to IEBC. And if you look at the reason why that court was established in the first place, it was primarily to deal with the presidential petitions. Because during those Nyayo days and those other years, petitions were taking years and ages in the lower courts. They were taking ages and centuries. But from the kind of verdict we saw coming from the Supreme Court, I don't think that in the foreseeable future, any sane Kenyan will dare or even attempt to challenge a presidential elections at the Supreme Court. From the kind of verdict Kenyans saw, where the petitioners are even being insulted, I don't think any sane Kenyan will dare take a petition there. And then, interestingly enough, after making that verdict, there was also a petition challenging Rigathi Gachagua's suitability to hold a public office, in that the High Court had found him guilty of irregularly acquiring about 200 million Kenya shillings. And the court actually ordered him to surrender the said amount to the state. So a petitioner moved to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to interpret whether Rigathi Gachagua, going by Chapter 6 of our Constitution, was fit to hold a public office. The Supreme Court struck out the case and actually declared Rigathi Gachagua fit to hold a public office. I seriously believe that Kenyans have lost hope in the Supreme Court. And this is why I keep maintaining in this forum that the best option now left is for Kenyans to do away with that court. Kenyans have that power. The court is not serving its intended purpose. From what we are seeing coming from the court, it's clear the court has been compromised. And we have even been seeing the court going to extreme lengths of even intimidating Kenyans not to talk about the verdict. Very unfortunate times, ladies and gentlemen. And also looking at what is currently happening, the Supreme Court being given more money I strongly believe that the judiciary and the executive are most likely in bed. That's something coming out very clearly. As I conclude, the Supreme Court, in my honest opinion, has lost hope and trust amongst Kenyans. Justice Isaac Lenaola and the Chief Justice, they themselves have shown that they failed leadership and integrity test by Isaac Lenaola threatening an elected senator, telling him he's not an immoral, trying to profile a leader on ethnic basis. Lenaola is not fit not only to hold a public office, but even to serve as a judge. Chief Justice going to a public rally to talk about the verdict even before they give the full ruling, that alone shows she is not qualified to be the Chief Justice. And as I conclude, the court should be done away with. In case you are watching us for the very first time, subscribe, give this video a like. And to another person who wants to have a chat with me, to share information with me, or even to support this channel, I've pinned my number on the comment section. Channel your contribution or support to the number. Let's meet in our next analysis. God bless you.